In this video clip, we're going to show you how you can use JavaScript to respond to mouse move events. Alright, so let's take a look at how that would work. So what do we have so far? We have, what I've done here is I've got a form, and actually I probably wouldn't even need the form here because I'm not using a button or a text box or a radio button or a checkbox. But most web pages, when you get to the advanced levels, will have a form. By the way, you can only have one form tag per page, right? So I have the form in there, although I probably don't need it. And then I have set up these div blocks as well. And here's how I've styled them, right? Give them a height and width and a background color. Notice the third one is hidden, all right? So let's see what this looks like if I preview this in the browser real fast here. Bring this up. And there it is, okay? So what I want to do is I want to set it up such that when I move my mouse over the orange div block, the other div block appears, the third div block would appear, and it will have the color orange. And then same thing if I move over blue, it'll have the color blue. So let's see if we can get that to work, right? So what I want to do is I want to pass in something to a JavaScript function where it says display div block. I want to pass in a color. So what I'm going to do is do the space bar, and if I do on, right, and if you scroll down here, you can see all the mouse events. I'll scroll down a little faster here. On mouse down, on mouse move, on mouse out, on mouse over, mouse up, mouse wheel, right, all kinds of events. We're going to choose on mouse over, and we have this routine here, or this function called display div block. So that should be in our IntelliSense here, and we can, there it is right there. Now what we want to do is we want to pass data into this. So I'm going to pass in a color. I'll pass in orange. And since it's inside the double quotes, I have to use tick marks or single quotes to pass the data. So I'm going to pass the color orange to this function. All right, so let's see if this works. So then here I need some sort of parameter, something that will hold or receive the data that's being passed. I'm passing just the word orange. So I'll just say my color. I could use anything here. I'll just use my color. And now what I want to do is, and this is part of what's called the document object model, I want to be able to get this div block and change it up a little bit, right? I want to be able to display it first of all, and then also change the color. So what I'll do is I want to do something, I'll start out with document. Document refers to the whole page, right? The whole web page, you know, at the high level, it's sort of hierarchical. And I can find each element or each, especially with IDs, on the page. So I'm going to do a dot here, and then if you scroll down, you'll see you can get an element by their ID. So get, where's it down here? Get element. Let's create. Go down to get. Right? Get element by name or ID. I'm going to get it by ID. Which element do I want to get? Well, I want to get div square 3. So div square 3. Oops. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Dot. Well, what do I want to do? I want to change the style of this element, right? I want to change the background color. So I can say style, right? Dot background color. Check it out. And then I can put in here. Now, what do I want to put? I want to set it equal to my color. Remember, it's coming in here. That'll be orange. So I'll say my color. Right? But the other thing is I have to make it visible, right? Remember, it's hidden. So once I set it, I could say document, right? Get element by ID. Div square 3 dot style dot visibility, right? Visibility equals, and I'll just say I think it's visible is the actual property. So let's just see if this works. So I'll save it. I think I can just refresh my browser window, right? If I move my mouse over it, see if what happens. Ah, there it is. Now notice it stays there when I move my mouse out because I haven't changed anything. But we'll change that. But now what I want to do is make it so that when I go to blue, it also changes it to blue. So let's take a look. How can I do that? Well, basically I have to do the same thing. On mouse over, right? Take this whole code right here, this whole event or this whole method, and paste it over. And now I want to change this to blue. So I'm passing in the blue value. I can have more than one parameter I'm passing back as well. I would just separate them by commas, and then over here in the function, I'd also separate the parameters by commas. So now let's check it out. If I do this, I'll save it, refresh, right? orange, blue, orange, blue, orange, blue. Check it out. Okay. Now the thing with it is I want it to disappear when I move my mouse out when it's not on the display. So for that I need another event, and I also need probably another function. So what we can do is say function hide div block, right? And I don't need to pass anything in on this one. I'm just going to hide it, right? Unless I had more than one div block, I had to figure out which one I wanted to hide. Then I might have to pass something in. But I'm just going to say document.getElementById, right? And div square 3 is what I want, right? And style visibility equals what? Hidden, right? Notice I'm using double quotes when I'm using, it's a text value I'm assigning a property. This is what's called a variable, right? So that is not in quotes. So that's important to distinguish. It's a variable. All right, now, so what I'll do now is I need to call, if I do the space bar out, oops, not inside the quote, outside the quote, outside the double quotes with the space bar, and then you can see, if I go down here, on mouse out, right, on mouse out, let's past it, I think, on mouse out, meaning when I leave it. And what do I want to do? Well, let's click it down here so you can see it. I want to, I'll say equals, whoops, it should display now, maybe not, on mouse out, equals, I should have the, should be the IntelliSense, but I'll just say hide div block. It should show it up in the list, but it didn't. And semicolon, right? And I'll do the same thing over here on this one. Copy, paste. Right, you can see how that works. So now let's just see what happens. Save it. Refresh in the browser. Once I'm over here, that's fine. As soon as I go out, it disappears. Out, disappears. Okay. So now you could do the same thing with images. The only thing is with an image now, you wouldn't be using the style, right? You could use the image source property, right? If you use an image. So if for instance, if I have an image down here, let's say I wanted to do a paragraph, and I want to put something in an image. Let's say I have an image tag, and I'll just leave it blank for right now. You could hide the image. This is the source property, right? That's where the image is going to be. And let's say I wanted to, I need an alt tag, right? And this is, let's call it flowers. I have some flower images in my image folder right now, flower 1 and flower 2. All right, and so there's my image. So you might want to hide this because right now it's going to look bad. I don't want to give everything away for the lab. But if I refresh this, you have the broken image. If you were in Internet Explorer, you get the little X in there probably, right? So I could set it up such that if I move over, maybe say if I move over square 3, well, I can't do that because that's let's put a button in here. Now I will put a button in here, so we'll do a button, and so that you can maybe see a few things, a few ways to do things. So I'll put input type, right, equals button, right, and then I'll give it an ID button image. Okay. Right. And then we'll give it what's the value? What's going to be on the button? Equals, and we'll just call it show image. Right. And then on click. So I could just do an on click event. On click, and I'll create another function, a function called show image. Now I could pass something in there as well. Maybe I'll pass in the name of the image. Maybe I want flower1.jpg to be passed in there. Right. Okay, on this one. Now I could have several of these buttons. All right. So when I click on the button, I want to do that. So let's create another function called show image. Right. Function show image. And again, I need some sort of parameter here. My image maybe that's going to receive it. Right. And then what I'll do is I need to, instead of using the source, I'll just do this. I need to say get document element by ID, and this time I want the the ID of the image, which I don't have, so I need an ID here. ID equals, let's just say, image flowers, right? Image flower. So that's the name of, that's the ID for the image. So if I come up here and I'll say ID image flower, sorry, image flower, right, image flower. And it would be style visibility now. It would be what? Dot source, right, equals, and now it's in the folder images, so I have to put the path there, plus, and it's not going to be, it's my image, so it'll be what my image, which is going to be the name of the image, right? There we go. Semicolon. And now it should display the image. Let's check it out and see if it does. See if any errors there. So refresh. Okay, if I click on this, it shows the image. Right, past the image, it passed the name back to the JavaScript function and to display the image. So this is a variable, and it just passed the name of the image into that. All right, so try to play around with that a little bit.